to discuss matters further, we have our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibal joining us live from New Delhi. Siddhant, official word from the Indian government, of course, is still awaited, but this is huge. Canadian citizens will not be issued visas to India. This is as per India's official visa partner in Canada. What are the two nations heading towards here? What are we even talking about? Canadians can't make it to India now?
Well, ties have hit rock bottom almost every day since the Canadian Prime Minister's claim in the Canadian Parliament over the death of Nijar, a Khalistani supporter, linking it with India. But essentially, we know the development as of now is the suspension of the visa services. We'll get more official word because remember today the weekly presser of India's Ministry of External Affairs will take place at around 4 p.m. Indian Standard Time here in Delhi. But before that, the official visa partners, BLS, has said on its website, put a notice that there is a suspension in visa services. Now, we know that relationship between countries go up and down, but this is unprecedented in every sense possible. In fact, with Pakistan, with which India doesn't have very good relationship, the visa services are normal. You can still apply for visa services. The Pakistanis can come here. Indians can go to Pakistan. But for Canada, now it is looking like they have entered into a terrain which no country has ever gone. And it looks like it's going to play out in much greater, essentially, from the Canadian side, from the Indian side, in terms of the diplomatic terms, we do expect some kind of word coming from the Indian side, from the Canadian side. And if you look at what has been the official stance of the partners of Canada, not many, in fact, no one has condemned it. Australia and UK have just raised concerns.
Siddhant, did Canada ever anticipate such repercussions for taking India's name and insinuating its involvement in Nijar's death?
Well, that question only Canadians can answer, but this is something that has caught many off guard because this is something that has not seen in the past. We know when it comes to India's relationship with countries, with almost most of the countries, India has good relationship, barring, of course, Pakistan and China, with which it is understood where the relationship is going forward. But remember, Canada is a country with which the relationship has been by far normal. There have been thorny issues like Khalistani issue, which India has been raising on a regular interval with the Canadians, asking them to take strong actions against these gangsters. But I believe that the comment made by the Canadian Prime Minister is something that has put a stop to the relationship in every sense possible. And I can safely say, as long as Prime Minister of Canada, the current Prime Minister, is there, the relationship will now remain in freeze. We saw his earlier visit, 2018 visit to India. Yes. That was a visit that had given a negative connotation to the relationship, but this visit, he came to India for the G20 summit, and then thereafter his comments, these are something that perhaps New Delhi is not going to forgive easily.
Siddhant, now I know the story is still developing, updates are still awaited, but what are we talking about now? Visas, new visas will not be issued, or existing visas have also been suspended completely? And what are the kind of repercussions that would have on people who are expecting to come to India and Canada at large?
Well, the notification says that the visa services have been suspended from 21st. So it looks like from the notification that no new visas will be granted. It looks like the earlier visas which have been granted, they really function. But more clarifications are awaited, especially during that all-important briefing by the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson later today. But essentially, this is a new path, perhaps a negative path for India-Canada relationship. And remember, there is a huge and large number of members of the Indian diaspora in Canada. That is negative news for many of them. But all in all, many would blame the Canadian Prime Minister for taking a word or a stance, which of course goes against the relationship.
All right, thanks for joining in, Siddhant. We're getting word that the visa services have been suspended. It's not the visa. Of course, we will be tracking all the developments as they come in, and we're tracking them by the minute right here on WION The World is One. Thank you for joining in, Siddhant.